Well, hello there. I'm Lexi, and this is the Prodigal's Purpose podcast. Today's episode is dedicated to all my college guys and gals who are getting ready to begin one of the biggest transitions of their life. Now, don't tune out if you are not heading to college. Whether you're starting a new job, moving to a new city, entering a different season of your life, I really believe that there's something here in this episode for you as well. Because today we're going to talk about practical tips and tricks, encouragement, and different ways to stay rooted in Christ when everything around you is changing. Because the reality is, every new season brings new temptations, new challenges, and new opportunities to either drift away from God or to grow closer to Him. Now, looking back, college was one of the seasons that shaped my faith probably more than any other. It was when I experienced my greatest growth in my personal relationship with Christ, as well as some of my greatest failures in pursuing Christ. I didn't stop believing in God, but I definitely stopped choosing Him consistently. Today, I want to share what I wish someone had told me before I packed up and moved into that dorm room and traveled 3 hours away from home. Now, college is often the first time your relationship with God isn't supported or surrounded by your parents' routines. Now, maybe you have, a different upbringing growing up, but in my household, my parents loaded us up in the van and we all went to mass together. But here's the deal. In college, you are the boss. No one's waking you up for mass. No one's asking you when you're going to go to church today. No one's making sure you're saying your prayers before meals or your prayers before bed. Your faith becomes your own. It is totally your responsibility. I thought it'd be fun to walk you through my college experience, and I'm going to rank each year a numerical number, 0 out of 10, and then kind of explain where I was at in each phase and each experience. I will also preface by saying that I am a very big believer in decimals. So be prepared. All right, freshman year, I think I would give it a 4.2, okay? Freshman year was probably one of the hardest transitions or years of my life. All my siblings were really, really young when I left. My youngest sibling was only 2-3 months when I left. And I moved out of state to go to college. And so there was definitely a couple of months where there was I experienced a lot of anxiety and loneliness. I just really felt lost during this whole time. And it was also during this season that my family experienced loss. My mom had suffered a miscarriage early in the fall. And I would definitely define that season as me being angry with God. I was pissed. I did not understand His will, His timing, His anything. And I didn't understand how a good God could let bad things happen to people. And so I really wasn't motivated to pursue much of a relationship with Him a lot. I skipped mass a ton. I actually got really, really sick in the spring. And being sick, all you want to do is be home in bed and your mom checking on you. And instead I'm in a dorm room and nobody's, you know what I mean? It's just not the same. And so it added a layer of struggle. And at first I just thought, wow, I just had a really hard freshman year of college. But I also think the struggle was bigger because I was also struggling so much so spiritually. Sophomore year, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. The reason I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10 is because I was lucky enough to be able to form better friendships, and that really helped me during the harder seasons. I definitely still struggled with stress and especially anxiety because I'm actually not a great student, even though I am a teacher. I had test anxiety. I suck at writing papers. Oh my goodness. I suck at writing papers. And also the reason that I got a little bit better was because this was the year that I started to go to adoration daily, starting in Lent and then finishing out in the spring. And it was also the first time I experienced deep in prayer, God speaking to my heart and, me owning my relationship with God and getting a spiritual director and, making my faith a bigger part of my identity instead of all of my achievements or lack thereof. My faith became more personal this year, and it really, really, changed how I viewed God. And then in retrospect, I also think it changed how I viewed myself. So freshman year, 4.2, sophomore year, solid 5, junior year, 3.8. Yeah, 3.8. The reason of a 3.8 is because I was on the right track sophomore year and I completely fell off the train. Yeah. this is the year I turned 21. And so I was excited to go out to bars and socialize with friends. And then that led to me prioritizing different things in my life, and socializing and going out and drinking and then schoolwork were my top priorities. And God just kind of was pushed along the wayside a little bit. And I also felt I felt a sincere struggle of living a double life. Like, I know what I experienced my sophomore year, faith-wise, was so genuine and so real and so good. And I wanted to pretend I still had that and was still holding on to it. But really, once Friday and Saturday hit, I wasn't the same girl I was the rest of the week. And so that became a really hard thing. Almost harder than my freshman year when I just didn't have a relationship with God. The double life is almost worse. And so during some of those low moments my junior year, I also realized that there were some emotional wounds I've been holding on to and kind of hiding that came to light when you kind of hit rock bottom. And so I just felt a lot more vulnerable and struggling a lot more than I think I even realized. But alcohol and those different settings do kind of open your eyes a little bit to how you really are doing and how you really are feeling, based on how much you're trying to mask it. You know what I mean? If you're trying to hide something even more so, then there must be something way deeper going on. And so I did come to that realization, but it was really, really tough. So junior year is a 3.8. My senior year, I'm gonna give it a 3.9. Oh, that doesn't sound good, does it? 3.9. Here's the deal. This was a lot more circumstantial and season of life difficulty than I got hit by a bus or something happened. It wasn't that deep, but I had finally formed some really meaningful friends. And so that was really great. And so I had these meaningful friendships, but then I also had other friendships that were a little bit more surface level and brought out, the side of Lexi I didn't necessarily love the most, and more of the socializing stuff. And so I kind of had this internal tug of war. And so I do think there were times where if I invested time in one group, the other group was lacking, and some are more meaningful than others. And so social and friendship dynamics kept shifting. And it's really hard too when you have roommates and you're living in a house with 6 girls. There's so many different dynamics, and you're playing house, but there's 5 chicks, and you all have school, and you all want to do different things on the weekend. And so we all were just at such different paces that there were times where it really felt hard to know where I belonged. And there were a lot of nights I isolated myself. It was definitely self-inflicted. I isolated myself and just stayed in my room and watched TV and just kind of hid. And so that's kind of sad. I also think too that I wasn't taking advantage of my time in this season of college, where you have more flexibility, you have more freedom. I think I was just wishing it away, wanting to just start my job and for it all to end. I will say the reason that it bumped up a little bit was the good friends that I left college with that I still have today, such a blessing. But then also, again, I remember I'm not good at school. When you're a teacher, your last semester, you don't really have to do traditional class schedules anymore. You student teach. Monday through Friday, you teach, and somebody's observing you and supporting you and watching you. And so the one blessing of this was that maybe I'm not great at papers, maybe I'm not great at tests, but dang, I feel at home in the classroom. And I had an amazing experience, a wonderful mentor teacher, great students. And so that gave me some hope in the light of the end of the tunnel. And I think that's why it bumped up, was no more homework, no more school, and I finally get to be a teacher. So that was my college experience. Now, when I look back on those 4 years and focus on my whole well-being and the spirituality of it, I think it would sum up best in one sentence. I genuinely never stopped believing in God. Never, not throughout the whole thing. I was pissed at God, but I never stopped believing in him. But I definitely stopped choosing him consistently. That is the danger I want to talk about today. Whether you are packing your backpack and going off to college, or whether you're just in a new phase, in a new season, desiring something different for yourself. You feel like you're kind of in that rut that I felt like I was going to be at. That's also fair. Also, if you are going to college, please don't let my experience make you pee your pants and freak out and be like, if that was Lexi's college experience, that's going to be mine. It's not, because you're going to be smarter than me and you're going to make better choices than me. I'm just telling you like it is. Some people, live for their high school days, live for their college days, and some people don't. And I'm going to be frank with you. Okay, here's the deal. There are definitely some highs and lows. There's definitely a highlight reel, but I also think it was really hard for me to find myself in that season. And so that's why I have such low scores as like a 3.8. But hopefully with what I've learned from it, I can help you avoid those lower scores. So let's do this. So first, I'm going to talk about the warnings. I want to talk about the things to avoid or the things to be aware about. Okay? So here are my warnings. The first warning I want to give you is what I call the slow temptation. Keyword slow. Okay? It's not like day one, you're going to get smacked upside the head and you're just going to fall off your rocker and go crazy and whatever, day one. That's not actually how it usually goes. Maybe in some rare cases it does. I don't want to go to that college. But it's actually kind of the slow burn or slow temptation that's going to get majority of us. Have you ever heard of the analogy of the frog in the boiling water? Okay? So for example, if you have a pot of hot boiling water and it's bubbling, whatever, if you try to drop a frog in it, he's going to hop out. He's not going to burn alive. He doesn't want to be frog legs. No. Kermit's going to get out. However, if you have him swimming and chilling in a pot of water, and then you move it over to the oven, and then you slowly crank it up, he's just going to keep swimming and chilling, not even realizing he's slowly dying, and then boom, he's dead. Sorry, that's super morbid. But that is like the best analogy I have for the slow burn or like the slow temptation. Our faith can drift away the exact same way. It won't happen all at once. It'll be like the lost sheep taking one small misdirection and another small misdirection that will inevitably cause us to find ourselves lost. One skipped mass, one missed prayer, one moment of peer pressure and you compromise, your morals and what you stand for. One party, one excuse to validate why you're making this choice for yourself. And then before you know it, you drift away further than you ever thought possible. And so when we talk about this today, that's also why I want to emphasize how important the small choices we do daily, where we choose God over what we want or over what other people want, that really, really matters so much in this time. Because good habits don't restrict your freedom, they protect it. Okay, so number one is slow temptation. Number two is don't let your emotions become your leader. Okay, as I expressed, my first year at college was an emotional roller coaster. Loneliness is real. I think no matter what, no matter who you are, no matter how many friends you have around you, at some point you are going to experience loneliness. It's a big shift, right? You're not coming home to your family anymore. And I think college is our first real experience for an extended amount of time to deal with that. And you're going to be tempted to fill that loneliness with anything and everything. It's real. I never thought I'd be susceptible to it. Your girl was. It can be a lot of things. It's not just like drugs and alcohol. It could be relationships. Maybe prioritize your friends or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. It could be partying and socializing. It can be alcohol. It can be, seeking approval and making sure everybody likes you. It can be, success in your classes. It can be staying as busy as possible. Honestly, anything that numbs the feeling or numbs the ache and you gravitate towards it just so you get to stop feeling the way you're feeling, that is it. And it can really be anything. There's such a variety of things that people use to numb how you're truly feeling. But here's something I want you to really, really remember. Feelings are real. Feelings are good. However, emotions are fleeting and they should not lead us to making choices that can affect us in the long run, right? Feelings definitely help us be more self-aware and we can figure out when they're telling us that something is happening, but it's not necessarily always truth. In that, feelings don't identify what is true. If I'm experiencing loneliness, I might be feeling like I have no friend in the world. That might not necessarily be true, right? Maybe my friend went to a different school, or maybe my friends are back home. But that doesn't mean I don't have a friend in the world. Do you see how the emotions can snowball a little bit? Feelings are a gut reaction to a situation. And so when your emotions start screaming at you and it gets really overwhelming, it's really important to stay rooted in what Jesus says you are, which is not your feelings. You are loved, you are enough, you are mine. Those are the core things Jesus wants to make sure we know about ourselves. And so those truths never change, no matter what season or phase of life you're going through. But your feelings come and go. Does that make sense? Number 3, your worth will be questioned. I hate to admit it, but it's just the ugly truth. You are going to be around so many of your peers or so many people that it's going to be impossible to not compare yourself. And you're going to start asking yourself, do I fit in? Am I desired by other people? Am I attractive enough? Am I successful enough? Am I smart enough? Am I cool enough to go along with the crowd and fit in? And I think college is notoriously the time when we first experience total control and freedom because we're living without our parents. And so because of that, we are more susceptible and easily swayed by our peers. And honestly, no one is watching you except yourself and Jesus. Like, I used to think I was the main character in everybody's story and obsessed over it and worried about it. Honey, nah, that is not the way it works. The only people that are watching you 100% of the time and are there for you, or like they're with you physically 100% of the time, is yourself and Jesus, not everybody else. One thing I want to drive home with, and if it's the only thing or only advice you take away from this, please, God, listen to me right now. If someone, in any phase of your life, if someone is pressuring you to compromise your values, aka you wouldn't make this choice if they weren't there and if they weren't kind of pushing you to do it, they don't actually care about you. If someone is pressuring you to compromise your values, they don't care about you. Like, tough love right now. Either they are trying to use you or they aren't brave enough to make these destructive choices alone. And so they want a partner in crime. That is not love. If someone loves you, they would never put you in a position like that. And if they know that you're saying no and you're kind of resisting it, they're not going to push even more. That is not love. I think college is a really confusing time, and people elevate the importance of their relationships and their friendships, that they get in these sticky situations where the minute it's over, they kind of look around and they're like, I would have never done this. What am I doing? And there's a lot of regret. And that can be really, really destructive for someone and their self-worth and how they view themselves when you start letting other people make your life choices for you. All right, the 4th warning. Your Catholic faith will be challenged. I don't care if you're going to a Catholic university. I don't care if you're living at their Newman Center. I don't care if you go to church every day. Your faith will be questioned. Your faith will be challenged because it's the real world. People are going to knock down the church. They're going to say very ugly and nasty things to you about the faith. And sometimes they're going to lash out all of their hurt and their feelings and their experiences onto you, and you're going to get the brunt of it. There will be times when someone asks you a question and you literally don't know the answer and you're panicking. But that is okay. Be honest when you don't know something, but don't let that stop you there. Take ownership of your faith. Say, you know what? I'm not really sure right now what that is, but if you give me a day, I'm going to do some research and I'll get back to you. That is far more moving and far more impactful than someone going, blah, 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 I don't know, or saying something that you don't actually know for sure if it's legit and then spreading more heresy and false teachings. Wrong answer, don't do that. And I'll also say that finding out what the church actually teaches, if you don't know it, that means that's probably something you should know. Get educated, because more often than not, it's a total bonus for you because you'll come away with a deeper understanding of your faith. And that is what apologetics is all about. It's about you diving deeper into understanding of God, not proving somebody else wrong. Okay? And probably my most favorite thing about the church and about being Catholic is that apologetics never stops, ever. Apologetics simply means learning why we believe what we believe. And you will always be enrolled in this class. And you'll always be learning. And so never stop feeding your faith and never stop growing. I'm 30 years old and I'm still learning and getting educated when it comes to the Catholic faith. Honestly, one of the coolest parts about being Catholic is that the journey never ends. All right, so switching gears from warning and scaring you to helpful tips and tricks, advice. How can you set yourself up for success? Number 1, schedule them sacraments, okay? Have a regular mass time that you go every week. Find your favorite pew. Get comfy. Build a routine. Go to confession. Maybe weekly, maybe Wednesdays are your day. Maybe monthly, Maybe the first of the month you always go. Something, because you're going to make mistakes. You're going to fall short. We all do. I do. And so having a plan on how you're going to get back on track is so huge and important. Build it in your routine. Number 2, find accountability. Mommy and daddy are not holding your hand and driving you to mass anymore. It's now up to you. So find that friend that wants to go to mass with you, or maybe you split a holy hour together, or maybe you find a spiritual director or a priest you really connect with, or find a cool study group, a Bible study group that you can be a part of. Find someone who can lead you toward Christ when the world is going to try to pull you away from it. 3rd, build that prayer routine, okay? Jesus needs to be your anchor in everything. And I always like to joke, once I said this, I feel like some of my kids, it clicked. Y'all are so obsessed with your snap streaks, you should have a snap streak with him. Okay? And prayer is a huge way to keep a snap streak. Make that a part of your daily routine. Pray the rosary to and from classes. Set aside time for adoration. Read your Bible, maybe one chapter or one verse a night. Read a spiritual book. Learn about the saints. Learn about truths of the church. Do something. I love you, and I know you all make excuses of how super, super busy you are, but honey buns, I know y'all have nap time and some downtime. I bet you could squeeze in 5 minutes for God. I love you, but I'm just telling you the truth. If you don't water your faith, it will not flourish. It'll get all crunchy and die, and it'll just be sad. So don't do that. 4, be intentional about your community and your environment. Join a Bible study, go to the Newman Center, go more than once. I've had kids that are like, well, I tried it once and then I didn't like it. Wrong answer. You have to keep going. You have to try. Actually go to community nights and different events. Surround yourself with people who want the same things. If they want to become saints, surrounding yourself with them is going to help you get on that track to be a saint as well. You could also set aside daily reminders of your faith everywhere. You have no idea how many opportunities you can get to evangelize or to refocus yourself just based on your decor. Always keep a rosary nearby, maybe on your desk or in your backpack. Some people like to sleep with their rosary, so it helps them go to bed at night. Maybe you carry holy water with you all the time. That's smart. Wear a scapular or wear medals. Maybe you can hang up beautiful Christian artwork, like paintings and things. I love me some icons. Have holy images around your room. Have your faith be a part of your identity. And have these little reminders, even though they seem little and maybe are aesthetically pleasing, because they are beautiful, it really can help you and others be directed towards the right things in life. And then number 5, embrace that little black sheep energy. Okay? That has literally been my mantra this last year. Not everyone who starts this journey with you in college is going to end it with you. It sounds cold, it sounds harsh. I don't wish that for you, but it's just a reality. Some people you once stayed close with and you helped push each other towards God might choose a different path and might choose to get off that path with you. And that's when you have a choice. Are you going to follow your friends? Are you going to stay with the pack? Or are you going to follow him? And I am not giving you a pass to judge them and crucify them, because I did that, and that's one of my biggest regrets in life, was being holier than thou. But it's about choosing for yourself. And when you go against the grid, you're definitely going to be judged. You're probably going to be mocked or criticized, and you're going to feel really alone. But so is Jesus. A great Bible verse to help encourage you is John chapter 18, verses 20. Jesus says, "If the world hates you, know that it hated me before it hated you. A servant is not greater than its master. If they persecuted me, they will persecute you." Now that sounds espresso, but you have to decide. Everything's a choice. Do you want to live for this world, or do you want to live for the next? It won't always be clear, obvious, and easy. And honestly, sometimes it really won't be fun. But it's your choice now. Own it. Jesus never said, oh yeah, guys, living out your faith is going to be super chill, super easy. No, he never said that. He said, carry your cross and follow me, right? But eternity with him is worth every hard second here on earth. So finally, if you remember nothing from this episode, please remember this. If you drift, if you mess up, if you make a mistake, P.S. you will. It's never too late. No sin, no mistake, no amount of time away from him will never make you less desired by Christ. Ever. It's mind-boggling. I still don't get it, but it's the truth. Drifting does not mean you failed. It means you're human, right? We all fall down. And God isn't there waiting for you to be worthy and perfect. He's just waiting for your return. He's waiting for you to turn around and come home. So run to confession when you fall down, because you will. There were many times I ran to confession. Don't listen to the lies that you're too far gone, because when we fall, the devil wants to keep us down for as long as possible. He wants to bury you in the lies that he tells you. that you can't come back, but don't believe him. The most dangerous moment is never the sin. It's deciding to never come back. And so, as we wrap up this episode, there are some questions I definitely encourage you to pray with for my little college boys and girls, or my people entering new phases and stages of life. What habits do I want to build before I go? Who is going to help me stay accountable? And what boundaries feel hardest to protect right now? Because those are the ones that are probably going to be making you feel the most vulnerable and are going to be the ones that we're going to get tempted with first. So being aware of that is huge too. And so sometime this week, I think it would be great for you to pray and think about everything we just discussed. And maybe you can kind of like jot down, make notes, and make a plan or some goals that you would like to take with you to college so that you can have the best experience ever. And so here are a couple of maybe some journaling prompts that you can ask yourself during the week. What does staying close to Christ look like in college? Think practically, like day to day. What does that look like? What might be the first signs that I'm drifting from God? And then when I notice that I'm drifting, what is my plan to return to him? Where do I feel the most pressure to compromise my values or my faith? How will I respond when someone challenges me and my faith? What lie am I most tempted to believe about myself? What lie am I most tempted to believe about myself? Why is my faith worth protecting in this new season? Your faith is not going to survive college because you're perfect. It's going to grow because every time you fall, you're going to choose to get back up and to run to Christ. So before you leave for campus or before you leave for this new season that God is calling you into, make your decision now. Decide that Jesus isn't going to be a part of your life. He's going to be the center of it. Because the friendships, the experiences, the accomplishments, and memories that you make during this season are going to be wonderful. But at the end of the day, the greatest thing you can graduate with isn't a degree. It's a deeper relationship with Jesus. So please know that I'm praying for you and so excited for you as you enter this new phase and stage. I cannot wait to see how God writes the next chapter of your story. If this podcast episode encouraged you or was helpful to you, please feel free to share it. And please continue to pray that this podcast does what God wills of it. And never forget to ponder the purpose, embrace the journey, and live the conversion. Thank you.